All right, let's get going. Let's talk about some WiSys, and this is going to be an interactive conversation webinar where you can ask questions, raise your hand. I have Chase Linson-Bigler on the call here to moderate with us, so he's going to be monitoring the questions, and we'll be periodically answering those and then going over a question and answer period at the end. I shouldn't take up a full hour today. We'd like to get this under 45 minutes. Give you some good information about WiSys and our licensing and how it's priced and our levels, our tiers, things like that. So just a quick reminder for those of you that are prospects as well as customers, we are certified in both SQL and HANA. That's very important to us. We are, we follow the DI API, and we're going to talk a little bit about those connections here as well today for your setup of your initial WiSys project, and those of you that are considering, that are customers considering moving to HANA or sticking with SQL, this is something that we are proud of being certified because we're able to transact properly with the DI API and SAP Business One. So we'll be talking a little bit about that here, and then the SAP DI API and that stuff shortly. As you guys may know, I'm going to have my screen on here for a quick second, and I'll take it over to some PowerPoint. But my name is Aaron Armendariz. I'm a senior sales representative here at WiSys. I help customers in their journey through the warehouse, whether it's a new project, starting WMS, or it's your existing projects where you're adding to your solution, right? Where you're adding new modules that WiSys can work with you on, new projects, new phases. Additional modules that we've added since you purchased WiSys, and you're adding those components to your successful WMS implementation. So, and just a quick reminder, we do have these monthly learning labs, and this month we're focusing more on the sales side and the licensing side of WiSys, but Chase Linson-Bigler here also is conducting actual demonstrations or learning labs on the product. So we've done some past product in our label design software and our packaging layer, which is our pallet management. So we're going to kind of mix it up every month and really keep you for about 45 minutes to learn more about the WiSys product and things you may not have already learned. So hopefully today we'll get through a little bit of that. What are we going to do today? Well, we're going to overview WiSys licensing. For those of you that are new, that are prospects, that are looking at WiSys, I really want to make some clear distinctions from our licensing point of view, how it's licensed, how it relates to SAP Business One, and then upgrading, or the 3 tiers of our licensing that we have today. Also, we have 2 types of licenses: our mobile device license for handheld scanning, and here I have a scanner today, so this is going to be a mobile device license. And we also have a desktop license. I'm going to show you where that's necessary, where that's helpful, and where that helps you become better in your warehouse solution. So we're going to talk about that stuff too. We're also going to talk about project planning. And for those of you in the middle of your journey in your warehouse project planning, we're going to talk a little bit about things that need to be prepared, things you have to have ready, considerations that you didn't think about when you're planning a warehouse project. And I just want to stress how important those things can be, because everybody always asks me, Aaron, how long does a project take? Well, there's many factors that go into a project. There's many factors that go into the timeline that things happen. And when we talk about those things up front, we get clear visibility and we understand the expectations of where we're going to take this project. And the quicker and the more resources that you have involved in those, we're going to actually discover those today. And we'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to give you this deck at the end that has some links to it. We're going to give you some information that'll help you navigate our documentation well, so you could drill into some of these issues that you may have questions about. Okay, great. And then we're going to do some question and answer. So if we do have questions, great. If not, that's also good. Hopefully we give you some more information to make good decisions about your WMS project. So as some of you may know, and most of you, since we've spoken to most of the prospects and our customers have the product, we have 3 tiers of licensing with WiSys. There is our essentials out of the box, which is everything standard with WiSys. It comes with and we'll go through all that. Our professional level of licensing, which includes our design tools, allows you to tailor or modify or customize WiSys. and we give our customer those tools, but we also will have business analysts and consultants work with you on those tools, right, to understand it. In our enterprise, which is our all-fulfilling highest level tier of WiSys, which includes everything we offer, and we're going to kind of go through each one of those and just understand when and why you need to adjust and go to that next level. So we're not going to show pricing today. There are some prospects on here that haven't been priced yet that we want to go through the pricing quote properly. So if you would like pricing for upgrading and or adding to your system, I'd be happy to do that, and Chase and myself can do that if necessary. Okay, so great, let's step on. So we're going to talk first about the Agility Essentials. This is our entry-level tier of WiSys. This is our least expensive module, and this is where we talk about out of the box. When we say out of the box, these are people, customers that talk to me about, we just want to do a little barcoding. We want to do standard transactions like goods receiving. We want to do standard putaways, inventory movements, views, some production, issuing, receipt, packing, cycle counting, inventory counting. All of those standard transactions that are normal in most WMSs come in our out of the box, right? With out of the box, nothing can be changed. We're going to implement based on the requirements that you have for your project, implementing our Essentials out of the box product. So as it is, as it comes, that's exactly what you get. Changes are unavailable with this module. We'll talk about the next module. I also want to mention, we do handle serialized information as well as batch tracked information. We handle bins, right, within the standard product. That is all part of the standard solution. There's nothing extra needed for that. Now, I do want to talk about instances where serial and batch become something that we're going to tailor and use our professional edition for. We'll get to that in the next one. If we want to take a look, and we're not going to do all PowerPoint today, but let's actually take a look at the handheld device. Agility 360 comes with 3 drop-down menus of our product here. Distribution is going to be the standard Agility Essentials out of the box module that you're going to see. So everything that we have within WiSys that you're going to see on this screen is everything out of the box. So when you're doing a standard goods receipt, if you don't need to change or modify the form and you're just doing standard goods receipts, you're going to be able to use the out of the box solution. Now you can always get started with the out of the box, right? Some people don't understand or have learned through WiSys the extent of what we can do to help them, right? So we can do out of the box to start. That's when we talk about upgrading. And some of our existing customers today want to learn how upgrading happens, because upgrading can happen with WiSys, and we'll talk about that shortly. So any of the standard applications that you're going to see from our WMS are going to be available out of the box. The only thing is you can't modify any of the solutions to fit your company's needs, which most of you are going to do, which leads us to the next point. The next level tier that we have is Agility Professional. Now, you're going to receive everything that comes in that Agility Essentials product, but in addition to that, you're going to receive the tool set, which is our design tools that you see here on the screen. I'm actually going to take off my video so you guys can focus better on the screen. So we have our design tools, and we have our desktop solution, which we're going to show you a little bit shortly, and the forms that are on the handheld. And our product gives you the tool set, the design tools, to be able to modify that solution. So as you leave the out-of-the-box Essentials product, you graduate to the Professionals, which allows WiSys consultants or our business analysts to make changes to the solution out of the box or create unique forms or applications that you need as a company, right? Following your process flow. Obviously, we really want to understand if that's the best practice. That's where our business analysts come in, and that's where we determine if a product is going to be modified. That professional edition includes both of these, the design tools for the handheld forms, as well as our desktop solution. And that comes on a desktop icon, a Windows application that can be launched directly from your Windows screen where your B1 or your WiSys is installed. And this product, and I'll open it up just to show you a little bit about it. We're not going to go too deep in the actual functionality. Chase will probably be doing a demonstration on the Form Studio to give you guys a little taste of what we can do with customization and tailoring, as we call it. Tailoring allows us to modify the product without programming, without going back to development and changing something. We can actually go into our product, and I'm going into a project of mine that has our goods receipt form, which really matches my goods receipt form on my handheld device, right? My goods receipt PO here. The functionality is the exact same on that goods receipt. This is where we're going to modify this. We could build a new project in a new form, but we're going to give you the tool set that allows you to modify the form on the handheld yourself. It takes time to learn this. It takes resources. With time and resources and maybe doing a few projects with us, you can do our design tools that are given to you or that are purchased within that professional edition of WiSys. So that's the next step, that professional edition. It's a small upgrade from the out of the box essentials, but we give you those design tools. So as soon as you say, and you can, and you're going to know this, as soon as we do some discovery and demoing, as soon as we say, I want to change something, or we do it a different way and we'd like to adapt the way that we do it, or let's look at the best business practice and come up with a solution for my company, you're going to go to that professional edition. So now we're going to leave the professional edition and go to our enterprise edition, which is our all-encompassing solution. Every product that WiSys offers for SAP Business One, you get in our enterprise edition. This is our most popular edition, right? This is the edition that gives you everything we have, but most notably, Agility pallets. Our pallet management is going to be located. This is where we're going to build and use that packaging layer that Chase did a learning lab on last month that you can actually see on our YouTube channel. We'll give you those resources. But our pallet layer is a packaging layer that allows you to create pallets with unique license plate to add product to a particular package. So it doesn't need to be a traditional pallet, wood, or plastic. It can be a container. It can be an inner pack. These are different packaging layers that is unique to WiSys. This is the solution that's going to show you the velocity that WiSys can help you with, where you're going to gain the efficiencies by creating pallets for overstock, for shipments, large shipments, for production. We can use pallet management. We're going to go deeper into pallets again, but I will pass along our last learning lab, which talked about that packaging layer and pallets as well in there. You're also going to get in that enterprise edition our fulfillment manager, and I'll show you the fulfillment manager shortly. But fulfillment's going to allow us to either on the handheld or on a desktop build large and complex shipments for LTL truckload shipments, right? We can do EDI integration, UCC 128 labels, bill of ladings. We're going to build shipments based on sales orders that we have in the system and allow you to build large container fulls of shipments. This is where we're going to pack cartons in the aisle or on the desktop in our packing station. We're going to load and pack pallets within there too. So a lot of integration. This is really the sweet spot for people that do want to become more efficient and faster and do things better in the warehouse. This is a great source of business where our business analysts do business process review to adjust how you pick, pack, and deliver orders. And fulfillment is part of that. We also include now, over the last year and a half, the newest product of WiSys is Agility Shipping. Agility Shipping is the direct integration for APIs of UPS, FedEx, and USPS for domestic shipping today into WiSys and SAP Business One. So one solution all the way from receiving out to shipping with small package, as well as LTL truckload as well, or as part of the fulfillment as well. But it's going to create delivery notes and then also write back tracking information directly to the tracking area of SAP Business One. That is part of the Enterprise Edition. There's no additional charge for the product. There's no per package charge. You will, however, need your own UPS, FedEx, and USPS accounts to utilize Agility Shipping, the APIs. And there is setup involved, and we'll talk about that during implementation, but there's setup that's required for Agility Shipping with package sizes, your accounts, shipping numbers, third-party billing, shipping like that. But that product is included in the one purchase price of Enterprise. So you're going to graduate or move up from the professional edition, to include the pallets, fulfillment, and shipping. So let's just take a look at our handheld real quick, because I can show you the pallet module has its own category, and you'll see pallets here. And all the standard applications that we have, from building pallets to building multiple pallets to counting pallets, are within that module. We can transfer pallets, we can look at pallets by a single license plate scan, we can reprint pallet labels here, we can even let down pallets, split them, we can produce production to pallets. And in our production module, we include in that enterprise edition pallet production. Right here, pallet production is part of that. So as you introduce that enterprise edition and that layer, you achieve pallets on a handheld. What we can also do under the distribution tab is that you can actually, with enterprise, you'll be able to pack cartons. And this allows us to build a shipment directly on the handheld, pack cartons for a specific order, and create that shipment on a handheld to bring over to our shipping and packing station. So we're going to pack in the aisle. We can also do that with our pallets as well, where we can pack pallets on the fly and build those for shipments. So I could create a new shipment and a new pallet and build that shipment, build a pallet for that shipment on a handheld device. So many different ways to do that. This is going to give you that velocity that we're looking for in a WMS solution with WiSys. And this is unique to WiSys. This is a packaging layer that allows us to create those complex shipments. When we take a look at our desktop, and this is part of the fulfillment as well, and I'm going to go to the desktop right here. This is a different license than the mobile scanning, and we're going to get to that shortly. But this is our fulfillment manager. This is where we integrate the UPS, FedEx, and USPS, also truckload, LTL, to build shipments, to pack cartons, to pack pallets for orders to be relieved with a sales delivery no, right? So this is part of enterprise. Now you have to have a desktop license to run this from a desktop, and we're going to get to that right now. Let's take a look at my slides again real quick. Okay, so there's two different types of licensing we've talked about. We have 3 tiers, which is our entry level out of the box, our professional and enterprise, but there's 2 different types of license here. We have a mobile device license, which runs on a handheld, and like the one I showed you at the beginning of our presentation today, you need a WiSys license on that device. And then we have our desktop solution, which I'm going to go into a little more detail during this session about what that desktop solution can offer you guys. But what I want to talk about is licensing. People have common questions they ask me all the time is, how many licenses do I need of WiSys to run my warehouse properly? And very simply, WiSys is a concurrent license. So for every device you have, and I'll share my screen again, or I'm sharing my webcam here. So here's my webcam, right? Here's my device. And for every device I have, I need 1 WiSys device license, right? So I need 1 device license per device. So if I have 10 devices in my warehouse, I need 10 WiSys license. If I have 3 shipping stations or 3 users of the desktop application, you need 3 desktop applications, right? The next part is where the SAP authorization comes into play. And a very big conversation I have during discovery and demoing are indirect user licenses. A user can use their professional license to log on to WiSys, that 1 device. The warehouse worker that may not have an SAP license, may not have limited logistics, they need an indirect user from their SAP partner. Now you may have 3 shifts. They can all log into that same device, right? They can all use the same device, first shift, second shift. They only need 1 WiSys device license, but they're going to need their own indirect user license. And why do they need that, you ask? For traceability, for assigning things like pick lists and job duties and roles, you're going to want to assign those to a group of people or actually individuals. And then we're going to get the traceability that some of you require throughout the entire WMS process. if you want to see how many transactions that Chase has done in the warehouse, he's going to need his own indirect user license. These are very important. These don't come standard with SAP. You usually have to buy some. There is a case where some of you may have purchased from your partner an indirect user by instance. Now, this is no longer offered by SAP, but what that allowed you to do is have unlimited indirect user access to your system. That's an older thing. I believe they stopped that in 2019, but some of the older customers that have been on SAP a while may have that. If not, you'll reach out to your partner. I can help you do that as well. And we'll talk about those indirect users that are an additional cost to WiSys that you will have to incur. And we'll talk about that in our pricing when we do pricing together. But I just want to be mindful that people understand what that is. And if you have questions about that, please ask. I'll be able to talk about that at the end of the webinar today. But also, there's another type of indirect user license, and that's non-employee. That does not apply for WiSys. That is usually for portal or separate solutions that can connect to your B1. Those are for non-employees. We want the indirect user access license by employee. And we're going to give those to your warehouse workers, usually assign one per user, and then we're going to assign a WiSys username to those people as well. So there's two different types of license, the mobile device, the desktop. So if you have 10 handhelds in your warehouse or 5 handhelds, you will need 5 or 10 WiSys licenses, either concurrent or subscription price licensing there. Okay, so what does the mobile handheld device license do? Well, essentially, it is going to run on your mobile device here. Just like the application I show you here, we're going to install that Android APK, right? And that's going to consume one of your licenses in SAP, right? That's going to, within WiSys. This is the Agility 360 application, and this runs directly on the handheld, and then my device naming information here as well on that. So handheld scanning, mobile device licenses, that's going to do where you do your scanning. That's the inventory transactions most likely will happen on the handheld device. There's cases for the desktop, but we're going to say a mobile device license is for a unique handheld. Now, because it's an Android solution, we can do things like tablets, right? I could have a tablet like I have here today. I have a simple Samsung tablet with a Bluetooth scanner. These are the type of things you can use, and I'd like to have those conversations with you to help you determine the proper hardware for your company. Now, WiSys doesn't sell those hardware. We have partners, and your SAP partner usually has partners that help you procure those items for you. But I help with the discovery of those and help you understand when a long-range scanner is necessary, something for cold storage. I will help you through that. So that's a mobile device license, and this is the mobile device. So I'm going to use my SAP authorization to log in here. So I have an SAP indirect user that I'm using to log in, and based on WiSys's users and roles, it is giving me the applications that I see on my screen today. And I can really drill down and limit that screen to the user's role or that particular user. Say Chase is the only person that receives in the company, or he is one of 2 people. Chase may only see the goods receipt PO application on his desktop, or the put away as well. A manager may be able to do a goods issue or a goods receipt, but Chase is not allowed to because his job is to do the receiving. Taking the business decision making away from Chase and having him do his work as intended. Being able to train him very quickly, right? So that's what we do with the handheld mobile device license. The next thing is our desktop license. And this is the one that gets a little more inquisitive and more understanding needs to be done, because we all know barcode scanning. We all know what it can do for you. With the desktop license, we do a few different things here, and I want to make sure you understand those, because this is a part where you can add very quickly to your WiSys solution, and this is a place where we can discover a need for something like our desktop solution. It's a Windows-based application, so whether you're running RDP, logging into your SAP system, it runs on a Windows database. It even can run within your B1 menu structure. This is the application we use to administer WiSys, right? We also do our fulfillment manager on this, so a packing station or a shipping location, an agility shipping station as we call it, and our workspaces, which I'm going to show you next. You are required with every WiSys deal, as you know, if you own WiSys, you have to have one of those to administer WiSys. This is where we set all of our settings for WiSys WMS. So let's take a look at that desktop application. So on the desktop, my application here is my WiSys Agility, and that's located a shortcut right on my desktop screen. And here's that application. This is going to open up. Now right here I have the fulfillment manager opening up, and I have a menu structure here. This menu structure follows the same menu structure of SAP Business One and gives you the standard grids and forms that we have within WiSys to use to help you become better at what you do, give you deeper visibility into SAP. And we're going to get to some of these in a minute, but I want to show you where the setup of WiSys takes place. When you hit the file on that, it's going to take me to the different menu. And I have different settings here, all the way from my Agility desktop setup, right, to my layouts, to my transactions here, how that layup of this product goes, but also my settings here. My security is set up here, so when I add users to this, I can add WiSys users here. I can add multiple companies. So the nice thing about WiSys is you could have 3, 4, 5 companies with the same licensing. Unlike other WMSs where they require by company, we require licensing by server instance. So if you have 3 companies on one server, obviously maybe a test company, and you're going to have a couple of different live companies, you can use WiSys device licenses for each one of those. My roles and settings are all done within this application. So when we talk about desktop, you need one of these to administer the roles in Agility Mobile or the Agility 360 on the handheld. Here's all my applications. I can select by role and by members of that role who gets what applications, right? So I can really drill down by role and really tailor the application to their needs or to that user's needs. That's all done here. My standard WiSys settings are within here. Our serial batch tracking builder is in here as well. Our options, right? All the options we have here for device licensing. Here's all my device licenses. I could see those at a quick glance, and I could do an audit of my scans, right? Also includes my local printers here as well. So there's a lot of different things that are set up within the Agility desktop application. When we get to packing and shipping, we talk about package sizes, right? And open that up, sorry. So our shipping, our general shipping options are here. Over shipping, under shipping, package dimensions, things that are required by your company are all set up within this Agility Explorer. The different package types that we have, right? So if you have different cartons for your products, you would add those cartons here, as well as container management, carton management, and pallets. Freight right back is also included here, as well as scales that we integrate with for shipping as well. One of the big things that's in the Agility desktop is our document management. Now, most of you know this, even if you're a new prospect, where we have the location, a repository, where we can store labels, crystal reports, documents to be printed out on an action within a handheld, and they can also be assigned by item, customer, any kind of specific access that you want to happen on a handheld. Those items are stored within WiSys in our document management. We can import documents, we can export documents, but all that management is done within WiSys Agility Desktop. And then our Agility Shipping, which is a huge product that's going to require a lot of setup, has all the options for setup within that as well. On the desktop, including the settings, so this is why you need one of those. All those settings and options are within that first Agility Desktop module. But we also have our analytic grids, right? And this is a really cool area that we're going to probably spend a learning lab on at some point to talk about the grids. And I have a particular grid open up, and this is a Excel style format, right? This is a way to group, to sort, to filter important information to me and really drill down to important information. So I have a sales order grid in my application here, And this is very easy just for visibility to see all my open sales orders. And I'm filtering by the open status, right? I could filter by customer name here. And I can create alerts, or I could add alerts here by due dates, by ship to, by actually salesperson. What I can do is I can really filter that, and then I can actually highlight each row and actually go into that order and see what's on that order. I can even click the hyperlinks to go deeper into SAP, right? So that will go into SAP and bring up that order within SAP. Let me do that again. Right, so if I click on a hyperlink, now you need to have SAP or a license for SAP to do this, but I can actually click right into that grid and go into SAP and open up that, right? I could even click in the line code item here. Each different module within SAP Business One, like purchasing, has a standard grids, right? Our inventory standard grids that we have, and I do like a inventory workspace grid that we use, and this just shows me all my inventory by my item master within SAP Business One, right? So I can go here and just filter in description. I could say AirPods, and I could see my AirPods, and I could see actually what warehouses and what's on order, what's committed right from a grid, right? So maybe a customer service person has this. Maybe somebody in the warehouse management, maybe even a big screen out in the warehouse shows your open sales orders that need to go out today. We can even group by a panel, right? So I can group by the main group, and I can group by customer name. So I can see all the customers in the system. I'm going to take this filter out, and I'm going to group by customer name. So here's all my customers in my SAP Business One. And then I could dig deeper into their open orders or closed orders. So customer service can see this, or somebody on the warehouse floor. The nice thing with this product is that it is, again, when you purchase the professional edition, is customizable using the design tools that we give you to be able to customize any of those views. So anything you see in here can really be built by our business analysts, our consultants, as well as you guys learning the product. And this is going to give you a really good view and things that you want to see that's important to your company, be able to customize this and be able to see those things that you want to see. So the desktop has a lot of flexibility. You can add 1 or 2 of these, 3 or 4 of these at a time. You always have to start out one, and you can test all these features with one. But this is where I see a very large growth pattern with WiSys, is more people wanting to get data analytics into their daily lives, right? Into a desktop view. You don't need, again, you only need an indirect user to use this. If you want to drill into SAP, you will need to have a professional or limited logistics, but seeing the information, getting the data that's important to me can be seen right from this device. It can be refreshed automatically every minute. It can, you can click refresh and see those orders go away as they're being completed in your warehouse today. A lot of different views. We do have some production ones that we have with production orders, production creating here, production calendar. This is a tailored application that was made for somebody, but we can see production calendar, things that are on to be produced. A lot of different things can be done here, but they're all matching that. Now that also, as I was saying before, that can also be added as an add-on into SAP Business One. And you'll see that under every application that matches that, right? So under sales, we have an agility menu here. And these are those same grids that we saw in that sales order. So I can run these directly from the SAP B1 interface if necessary, if that's how I want to do it. And I can assign those roles and those specific grids to people that need to see them. So that's the difference between the mobile device license and desktop licenses. Again, you need to start with one to administer WiSys, but you can grow that one by one. And that kind of gets to my next point. There's that sales order grid that I just produced right from that agility grid there, or right from the B1 menu system. Okay, so let's minimize this. Let's go back here again. All right. So we're talking about adding, and these are for existing customers, but this helps you understand as a prospect what we do, right? So you could start at any tier of WiSys. You could start saying to Aaron and Chase, hey, we just want to start with out of the box. We want to do the things that way you tell us to do them, the standard way that most people do it. and we'll grow from there, right? So they get the product in and they say, okay, well, we want to change something. They want to upgrade. They can upgrade to the professional edition or go all the way up to the enterprise edition. Say they want to include pallets or shipping, agility shipping. You can upgrade at any time, right? You could call me tomorrow and say, Aaron, we need to upgrade. So you can add 1 device, you can add 2 devices, or 10 devices. So as the licensing goes, you can add as many licenses as you want. The big thing is when you add licenses and you upgrade your product, all of your licensing has to go with it. So the price difference is going to be the total license count that you have going to the difference between that next level. So you can't mix and match the enterprise with essentials or with pro. They all go up to that level because you all have access to all those different modules that we have. So I just want to make sure that we understand that when we upgrade, when we move tiers and we go up to that enterprise tier, that all the licensing needs to be upgraded at once, right? But you can add device or desktop license as you choose, 1, 2, 3, 10 at a time. You could call me every week and say, Aaron, I need another device. What that tells me is that you're using the product. People are using technology. They're getting adapted to that. They're being trained very easily. And it's also telling me you're growing, right? You're scaling your business, and that's good to see. So I'm here to facilitate those upgrades whenever you need them. I do want to be mindful that when you add new modules, when you update, and you want to implement new modules, say pallets, say fulfillment, or even agility shipping, you may incur additional services that you're going to want to do projects with us. We consider those usually, a phase 2 or phase 3 to your project, but you'll want to invoke your business analyst or your consultant to actually go through the process of implementing those modules with you. You saw the settings that are required for agility shipping. It takes about 40 to 60 hours of time to certify labels, to get your shipping, your packages set up. There's a lot of things that happen during that upgrading. So I just want everybody to be mindful that as you grow tiers, as you step up, you may want to set up additional phases to your services for those products that you're going to do. So I want to talk about some other things because these are questions that happen all the time in the discovery and the quoting phase, and also people that already have existing WiSys, right? And these are things that they probably discovered that we didn't talk about or we did talk about, things I want to make sure that we really drill home here. The way WiSys connects to the handheld devices is using what's called an IaaS server or a web deploy server. It's an IP address facing web server that will connect the handhelds to that DI API. This is something that you want to set up, that you're going to set up. We have the instructions and I have those requirements here to share with you, but these are things that are going to either slow down or speed up your project. So as we talk about things to consider for project planning, we want to be mindful of all the things that need to be ready for us to do project setup. So the first thing would be an IaaS server to be spun up, whether it's in the cloud or on premise, a solution to connect your handheld devices. And that uses an application pool, and that'll connect you directly to the DI API of SAP Business One. In our older model, in our classic edition, we used RDP. Other WMSs use RDP. It's a big strain on licensing for Windows, remote licensing. It's a big strain on data that goes across. With the APK and Android application, it transmits very small amount of information over that. So that's why we use an IaaS server. We've graduated to that solution from RDP. RDP is still available. So if you already have an application server and you're currently using RDP, our Windows Mobile Agility Mobile will also still work. So that's our classic edition of WiSys as well. Wi-Fi is huge. A lot of projects I get into, they won't have commercial grade Wi-Fi. They'll have a few antennas up or some routers in certain areas. WiSys is a real-time connected solution, right? We want to make sure that there are no dead spots in your warehouse. We want to make sure that certain materials or racking doesn't interfere with those Wi-Fi signals. The handoff has to be good. So if you have them too close together, these antennas, right? If they're too close together or too far apart, you lose connection to the database and the handheld goes down and your employee is unsuccessful using that product. So this is something that we can talk about. I'd be happy to review with you. We have partners that do site surveys, but I recommend a commercial grade Wi-Fi in your system to do that. And that takes time to set up. So if you're ready for WiSys today and you don't have commercial Wi-Fi, that is something that will hold up our project from continuing further for go live. Handheld devices, I know I've talked to you all about, and I know some of the current customers that we have difficulties procuring handheld devices. We have partners. Your SAP partner has partners to sell these. The supply chain on handheld devices is very tight now. So if you're planning on implementing WiSys, and we're in the process of scoping and project planning and pricing and purchasing, you want to make sure that you're on top of your handheld devices, whether you're going to buy 1 or 2 to start to pilot in your conference room, or you're going to buy 20 of these devices. You want to make sure that you're giving yourself a good 6 to 8 weeks lead time to get devices in. You can do many things because it's Android. You could bring your own device. You could do the tablet. You could also go to Amazon. Obviously, we have partners that help you with warranties. They'll help you with the administration of the handheld device using remote login software, and they'll pre-install WiSys for you. So there's a lot of things we could talk about handhelds, but that's an important piece that you want to make sure that it's underway today as you're getting WiSys. Label and document printers, another big one, another hardware piece that isn't a WiSys item that we sell, but these are important things that you're going to need in certain areas of your warehouse, like a label printer, right? They need to be ZPL print language label printers to utilize the Agility label design software, which is included with all levels. Just a reminder, the label design software comes with everything that we sell, even the essentials. Document printers as well, you're going to want to be mindful of those, and you're going to make sure that those are in your system. They're networked IP printers, right? They need to be IP address printers with either a hard IP or a wireless connection to those, but they need to be independent from a desktop solution. And the last thing I want to reiterate is the indirect users of SAP. Again, we can't stress this enough that this is not something that you may have, or you may have those, but within the B1 system, I want you to take a look and look today as if you're going to be purchasing WiSys, and take a look at your administration tab. And you'll see under here my licenses, and I'll look at license administration, and I'll see I have indirect user access right here. All right, so there's my indirect user access, and I'm going to spread this out so you can see it here, and you can see that full one. But I've consumed all my indirect user access here, and this is what's required by your system. Now this may say by server instance. That's great, because then you don't have to purchase any. You have unlimited indirect users, but you'll want to make sure that with every user that's going to use WiSys, an indirect user is there for you. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more about our licensing, how it's built, when to determine when to go to that next level, how you can add those licenses. Hopefully we've given you a little more insight into WiSys as well. So right now I'd like to take any questions, right? Just off the bat, you can contact me at any time. My office and my mobile number are here, as well as my email. If you have questions, I'd be happy to go through any of this with you guys and answer those questions for you. But we'll take some questions now. If Chase, moderating here, has any questions for us.
Yeah, I saved up a few here for you, Aaron. So first, we did have one about the need for the desktop license, and I went over that. I don't know if you want to reiterate anything else about that, but I think that question came in before you kind of explained what you could do on the desktop with administering users. So
yeah, it's really the main point for administration, but it's also the main utility for shipping, packing and shipping, right? So if you're going to implement Agility shipping, you're going to want to think about the number of packing stations you have or shipping stations you have in your warehouse. You will need a desktop solution for that. Now, as well as the analytics, you may think of a few members of your office or your warehouse staff that needs that information. And we can go deeper into that in a future learning lab about the things that you could do there. Again, it can be completely customized to see things that your company needs to see.
Okay. The next question we have is, so I think this kind of goes back to the difference between a WiSys license and an SAP license. The question was if it looks like it dropped out of the question queue here, but it was if WiSys is included with their SAP. So when they're buying it, if they're buying like WiSys 2, would they still need indirect user licenses? So if you want to talk about the difference between the two.
So a WiSys license is basically for the device or the desktop, right? That gets into our applications. You use an indirect or a professional or a limited logistics to log into those devices. It's a real-time connection to SAP, so you're going to need an SAP login to get into those to get into those applications, right? It's going to connect to those through the DIP and do real-time transactions in SAP. So you'll need to have those if you don't have now. If you have them already with your system, if you've been sold them and you have them, they're not consumed by other add-ons or other applications, you can use those for WiSys. You can also use your professional license too, which obviously as an administrator or manager, you can use that. But if you're a warehouse worker, you're not going to want to invest the $3,300 into a professional license when you can use an indirect user to give them the rights to use anything in WiSys.
Then we also have a couple of questions here about taking away licenses and the process for the removal of license if they, commit to more than what they need.
Yeah. So my goal in that, and that I think that's from Nora too, which is great. You can't take away licenses, but what you can do is you could start out small, right? You could start out with 2-3 users, and the smallest users are usually 2 handheld devices and 1 desktop. That's the startup of WiSys, and you can add those. It's a one-time purchase, right? Or a subscription, which we do offer as well, but that's a 3-year commitment. So you're basically purchasing these items for life and you own them. So I would start out at the smaller range and expand as you need to rather than contract and go down. We can't return any licensing. We don't have those options today to take away license from you once they've been purchased. So that's the key on that one. But yeah, I wouldn't start at your max, right? I would start at your min to get started in different areas, whether it's receiving, inventory counting, and then I would grow into that. Because you can call me tomorrow and add additional licenses within a day, right? You can say, Aaron, I need 2 licenses because we're growing into this department. We're adding this module with our business analyst or consultant, and you could add those licenses. So you can't go in the reverse way, but you can add as you grow.
Next we have, well, we do have a question about the lead time for devices. I know you mentioned that, but you might want to reiterate that in case anyone wants that.
That's a great question because this is a part that's out of my hands, right? And our partners have been telling me, and it's getting better. There are items in stock today, but when we talk to our partners, they've had difficulty in the past with the supply chain and COVID as getting the Cadillac devices like the Zebra devices. We have sourced out some inexpensive devices. It's just to be mindful that getting started with your devices should be important to you today while you're still in the decision making of WiSys. This is one of the reasons why projects slow down because they don't have devices, right? They're not ready to take the next steps when we install WiSys to actually install it on handhelds and to use it, right? To pilot it, to test things. You need some devices. So there are ways that you could buy some inexpensive devices and get them right away. Like I said, through Amazon, through our partners is going to give you the best option to do license or to do handheld devices, but they're going to give you real estimates of time frame. And right now they are in stock. So if you are looking for those, I've heard that we have a good lead time here, but I know it's been variable in the past where, sometimes it's been up to 3 months to get a device. And if you're ordering a large sum, if you're ordering 10 devices at a given time, or I have a customer that's ordering 60 devices right now, it's taking them time to get 60 devices together to do that. So just be mindful of that.
We have one here on, so this is an interesting one. What type of SAP license you get if the warehouse worker is a temp?
So that would be an indirect user license by employee. You can reassign those licenses to different users as they leave, right? We have seasonal and temporary workers all the time. You can assign them a license when they're onboarded, and you can remove it and assign that to somebody else as they are offboarded or unboarded. But yeah, you would still assign them that, and you can pull that back and reassign that to somebody else when that person no longer is employed with you.
All right, I think that's all I have left in the queue.
Great.
That's
I love
all
it.
I see. Yeah, if we miss anything, of course, guys, just email Aaron or myself, and we'll get back to you on those.
Yeah, we're happy to help. We want to help you through this journey. We want to make things easy. We want to make sure your expectations are met. When you have go live dates, we want to make sure that we can realize those go live dates. And we're going to have a conversation in a learning lab later this year based solely on implementation, right? We're going to talk about the things you think about, the things that we do, how long things take. Successful warehouse projects can take 3, 6, 9, 12 months, and they can be always evolving and growing with WiSys. That's what our hope is that we provide you the information that you received today, as well as other information, to be successful partners with you. We're not going to bring in software, drop it off. We are here to be partners with you, to be working with you for as long as you want WiSys to be a part of your solution. So thank you guys today. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time today. Please forward any questions and reach out. We can set up any meetings you'd like to discuss. Thank you guys. Have a great day.